Okay, so Riley, we're going to Inside Out too with Riley. She's changed. She's growing. Yeah. So what was the challenge for you thinking, like, we have to honor some of the themes from the first film, but she's actually becoming a different person. She's, a major age jump.
Yeah, well, I was very in touch with what the themes all meant, what the real impact of them was. So the most famous, impactful theme from the first film is the theme that is for Joy and Riley together. And you get that right off the bat as Joy is getting to know her, seeing her through her eyes in the first film, where as we're going into this film, into Inside Out 2, off the bat you get everything's chaos. Like there's so much going on. She's got this raucous energy. From the start, they wanted to. My director Kelsey, he wanted to just smash you right in with. We've got a different energy, and it was important to me to preserve the impact of the original theme there. So I was encouraged to really just use it for where that was applicable. And immediately we got into, Riley's core sense of self and her core belief system in that gorgeous introduction.
Yeah.
Where you point down on there's her core memories floating around. So I was given really a lot of encouragement to go exactly where the story needed to go and create new themes for that, and also to preserve that. So it really made the biggest impact when it came in again at the end.
Yeah, it goes back to the first film. We could feel the thing.
And Riley are connected again, so it makes sense there. And I think by holding off, creating that tension, like when it feels like, we're okay, when you do feel that impact of Joy and Riley connected.
So it's the fact that you lost Joy, really, for a lot of the movie, kind of did set up, we're wanting her back, the music back, too.
Yeah, Riley was not in touch with Joy. Riley was very in touch with envy, very in touch with anxiety and embarrassment.
So how does one compose for anxiety?
All of these characters very much encouraged me to think about, how does that, not just what's going on with them on screen, but that really, really informed me, because the animation was incredible, showing how is envy embodied, how is anxiety embodied, and so that inspired me to. Well, first I thought way too much, and I tried to use all of the notes, and when it came down to it, it was just more of an energy, like a zippy, like here I gotta go, an electric wire that's been cut, and it might zap anything at any point.
And the thing is, musically though, because you have the character emotions are all overlapping and interconnected, so you have to create an individual, let's say, theme for each character, but you also have to blend them.
That's some of the joy of composing too, is finding where you didn't even think that two things intersected, and finding out, this really goes well over here. And absolutely, like all of our emotions really are, anxiety and envy can come hand in hand, embarrassment and fear can come hand in hand.
One of the things I love about the show, it doesn't feel like a show, it feels like a feature film.
Yeah.
Because the production quality is amazing.
Incredible.
Do you think, is that kind of a good thing that you feel like you have to raise your game so much to a feature level, but you also have time to explore character a little more because it's a TV show?
Absolutely. I mean, it is, I think 4 feature films length, with all 3 seasons, and there's a lot of time, like you said, to explore with character themes, and you get to save the characters, you get to vary the character, continue on their journey, and that's something that I got to explore with all the luxury of time that animation had. I was on the show for 3 years, and you see the characters mature, you see, and our musical theme gets darker and darker as the show progresses as well, which is one of my favorite things.
And was it kind of fun to evolve the music for even and all the other characters, kind of following their character trajectory, kind of change the music, keep the core up,
Yes.
The heart of it? What was the challenge in kind of going darker even?
I love that. I mean, season 1, I think, was a setting up for the character themes. You established a tone of everybody, and then season 2 is where we get to go dark, like you said, and I love that because I find that there's such a beauty in having both light and darkness in music, and Wondla was something that we were able to explore that. I love the contrast between music, epic and intimate, and it's just something that I, really enjoy. Season 3 gets even darker, which I'm really excited about. Yeah.
So if we go into season 2 and 3, so when you go darker, would your instruments change? Like, how did you kind of change it a little, or would you add to it?
Well, also our character Eva9 goes on to such a personal journey, and she, steps into herself and becomes the leader that she is. So it depends. I mean, melody-wise, we still use her theme every single episode, but it's just as a composer, you get to experiment with different harmonies and instrumentation, and just to and everything is story first. So whatever the scene requires, we get to do the most emotional translation of our theme, which is always fun for a composer.
That's the thing about the show. The show is so visually stunning, but from the composing standpoint, you always want to just focus on the character then? Because you don't want to drown out whatever the character moments is when you're music.
Yeah, I mean, I think visuals and animation is inspired by music. Music is also inspired by the visuals, and Skydance Animation is such a collaborative team that everybody gets to be involved in. I get to go to lighting reviews sometimes just to get inspired by what they're doing with the visuals. I think that helps me to okay, so this is such a grand scale, maybe the music can match up to that, but regardless what it is, it's always story first, what the characters are feeling, and I just love how collaborative this whole team is.
Do you have, does animation, do you think, free you up more as a composer than live action?
I think so, because animation, I mean, there's really no boundaries to where the imagination can take us, and it applies to music as well. I get to create so many different, just put all the genres together, and it will still work because you're kind of trying to elevate whatever amazing visuals are already going on. So I think it pushes creative boundaries, both visually and sonically.
But at the same time, you have to create your own rules, though. Because live action has certain rules, so it might be some challenging in some ways because you have to invent new things.
Yes, but I love that. I can make. I love that as composers, you can make instruments out of anything. I have all these toys at my place. I have a slinky that I recorded and made it into an instrument, into the score. And because animation is so creative, you get to just do these crazy things and manipulate the sounds and make it their own. And that's what something I want to do in my projects, is to create a very unique score tailored to each project.
All right, well, that's good. I have a lot of students in my audience. I'd like to give them a homework assignment.
Okay.
If we're looking at Wondla, is there any specific scene or sequence, something you're like, oh my God, I'm so proud of it. Study that one. I did something, special.
In season 2?
Season 2, whatever, or maybe season 1, whatever. Something you just stand out. I like what there's something special about this one.
I think the last episode of season 2 is very, very special. It sets up an incredible season 3, and it's totally takes some. Without spoiling it, it takes a turn where audience would not expect, and I think music-wise, I was able to write my most emotional music for Wondla in that episode, so I really look forward to that one.
Okay, so Ironheart.
Yes.
Oh, what was about the project that said, I want to come on board?
I mean, everything really. I mean, first of all, who turns down a chance to be in the MCU? But no, I mean, I was very fortunate that they called me and asked me to, submit and all that, because it was just a fantastic experience the whole way through.
Now, one of the things when you have a superhero movie, one of the challenges is balancing the fantastical world, because obviously we're loving the world, but the character. You don't want the character to get lost. What was the challenges in making sure it was always about the character and that you didn't get drowned out by the fantastical world?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Riri and her kind of musical tableau is that we always wanted to make sure she had, import. So had the ability to be kind of big and brash, but also at the same time kind of speak to the girl genius of it all. Because she's a much younger character than a lot of the other superheroes. She's very invested in tech and has this insatiable need for knowledge. So there were a lot of kind of synth elements in there that made her feel, young and also very kind of tech oriented.
Okay, so I'm always curious about, I know everything you work on is your baby, everything. Was there a scene or sequence or a moment that you're most proud of? This is something special.
Yeah, I mean, there were a few moments. I mean, if we weren't going to talk about Ironheart specifically, there are some moments, we used a lot of bucket drums, which was a lot of fun, to kind of speak to the Chicago of it all. So there are some sequences in episode 2, where it's just, bucket drums, and they're, she's dragging this giant suit through her mom's house, and there are some elements when she's like, in the tunnel heist, where you have your big orchestra, but you also have a lot of synths, and the addition of bucket drums kind of add a fun flavor.
So you touched on something else. I want to ask you about another work, The Invitation.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Oh, good.
Yeah. What drew you to that project?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have meetings with directors and you're like, oh, that felt nice, right? It was like a good date. And yeah, like when I first met with Jess Thompson, I was like, yeah, that felt great. And thankfully she felt the same. So yeah, that was fun. It was very collaborative, and it was she really gave me a lot of room to experiment and do weird things. Like there were, we would have playbacks, and she was like, I think you can be even weirder. And I'm like, yes, because like sometimes you have to kind of toe that line of, being cinematic and being eerie and being strange. But yeah, I mean, that was, we used a lot of vocals in that score to kind of represent the 3 brides of Dracula. And when I recorded them, I recorded everyone forward. And then I reversed them, and then put on a bunch of like processing and stuff, just to make it feel like, there's a familiarity of the voice, but there's something off about it, so it kind of gets in that, uncanny valley.
Lessons in Chemistry.
Oh, yeah.
You had the challenge of wrapping up the season.
I
the 2
did,
episodes.
yeah.
When you first read the script, what was the biggest thing you were thinking about how you were going to wrap up with the wonderful stuff they set up?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing I was thinking was, what Elizabeth Zott did they establish in episode 1, and where is she now? Because I inherited a very different Elizabeth Zott. And so what was our show going to look like and feel like in Answer? Like it was almost like a call and response. Sarah Dina Smith had done episodes 1 and 2 wonderfully, by the way. And so I felt like, there was like a staccato style to the way Elizabeth cooked. And I was like, she's like a new person now. So there's going to be more fluidity. There's going to be a little bit of a different connectivity for her and other people. And we really worked on that on the last scene, right? When she's walking through, spoiler alert, she's walking through the house, and it was like a really fluid one-er that connects her with everybody in frame and in camera.
Yeah, so then what was the process of working with Brie Larson, collaborating to kind of, to pay off all the wonderful stuff she set up too?
Yes, no, and she's fantastic and so smart, and she definitely was finding her own rhythms as Elizabeth, and a new Elizabeth, and a softness, I think, by the end there, like, or a connectivity more than even a softness, and a sensoriness, that her cooking became more sensory and less, methodical maybe.
I mean, your features and question about TV. Do you something like about TV where you get to explore character over a longer period of time? And is something you like kind of as a storyteller?
Yeah, I think TV definitely lets you have a character that makes more mistakes and redeem themselves again and again, which is maybe more like human, our lives actually work. And I love, for me as somebody that dives into another world and then out as an episodic director, there's something very satisfying about the quick dive in and the wholeness of that experience, and then you're out. Versus a feature, it could be years. You're with that project for years, and it can be a beautiful thing to get to do, but tiring, or you can run out of steam or lose your thread sometimes.
And in the story, you can actually come back and change it the next season. You can say, we can take the character movies
in a new
done.
direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a connection, UCSB.
Woo-woo.
All my students,
The
staff
best.
as UCSB graduates.
Proud gaucho over here.
Well,
Yeah.
They're all graduates now, and my time that was wonderful. What advice do you give to students now trying to break into, especially women directors? We have a lot of women staff.
Yeah.
Breaking into directing today.
It's funny, when I was coming out, the advice was like, wear big boots and don't wear makeup, and it was very much like, try to be the guys. Now I would say, try to find your voice. What is that singular thing that is the most you? Just find that thing. And also, I was always told I had to write in order to get to directing. I think that's changed a little bit for women. I know a lot of women who've come in through music directing or music video directing or commercials. But so yeah, I guess if, following my tract, I would say you have to write. Yeah.
Quantum Leap. I was a big fan of the original. Yes. Loved the new one too. You guys really captured the feel of it and the love of it. Your episode focused on the trans issue. It was really impactful for me. What drew you to want to do that episode?
Well, you know, the interesting thing about being a TV director is you don't know what episode you're going to get.
Yeah.
But they know what they're giving you. So when I interviewed, they said, this is a hot topic one. And I said, okay, I'm ready. And then I saw the script and I was like, wow. And my thing was, I just wanted to honor it and handle it with care. You know what I mean? And just make sure that it was true to the experiences. And luckily, Shakina, who wrote it and is trans, was able to, we worked together in tandem to make sure that happened.
So do you think something the sci-fi genre allows you kind of explore a topic like this in a way, like you can, do it in a way that you maybe in other genres it's a little more difficult?
I think it does. I think you know, whether it's Star Trek or Star Wars or, Quantum Leap, you're able to kind of see it in a different way, you know what I mean, that can make people maybe more relate or open their mind to that type of story.
Okay, but you've also done a lot of multi-camera sitcoms.
Yes.
And actually, one of the programs I do for my students is doing multi-camera Q&As. I'm very curious, how did you get started in multi-camera?
Actually, I started, my first show in the DGA was a multicam, but I was not, I came up as single cam, so I had to learn it. I had a reel of single cam work, but a lot of it was comedy. And so my first show was a Netflix show called Family Reunion. But prior to that, I was a producer and I did a lot of live events. And so I've worked kind of with that quad before. So it was kind of an easy adjustment. I'm a huge fan of multicam comedy. Three's Company is like one of my favorites ever. And so there's a certain rhythm to it that I really love. That's different from single cam.
And it's on the fly.
It is. I mean, things are
just
happening. It is very planned out.
Yeah.
However, it does come out that the way the energy is, it feels like it's on the fly, but everything's really planned out. It's higher stakes. Surprisingly enough, comedy is for directors and actors and everyone because of the rhythm and the words, and so it's so much fun. You can laugh as you're filming, and that's okay.
And one of the things in your bio, you teach. And teaching sort of women and underrepresented things.
Yes.
What was it about that you enjoyed the most, and actually encouraging people that don't think they have a chance maybe or don't see themselves, giving them hope that they can enter the industry?
Well, I started Mojo Academy, which is it's an online film school. And initially it was really, a lot of people asking me how to transition because I transitioned from unscripted into scripted. And I know a lot of really talented creatives, producers, directors who want to do it, and they just didn't know the steps and what is necessary. And so I'm trying to bridge the gap, and help people launch their careers.
Okay, so you started off as an editor, and you did a lot of episodes of Arrow. How did the editing process lead you to directing?
It led me directly to directing. I was always a armchair director for 15 years, sitting in the editor suite. I would always, when the directors came in, I would always be like, why didn't you get this shot? Why didn't you go wide? That should be in slow-mo. I didn't know what I didn't know at that point. And so I was constantly quizzing them on shots that I thought were missing, and then you find out on the other side that there's a reason. They ran out of time, they didn't have the budget, whatever. But I was constantly asking and quizzing how they got these shots. So they would have these amazing shots that I would just honestly, I'd slow it down, I'd look at it from the two angles, and I still couldn't figure out how they get it, and they would always be proud to show me the BTS of the shots they got. And so I was always quizzing directors when I was there, and so there was a long interview process to the point where I was working with Greg Berlanti, and he was talking about female directors, and he was like, I would love to have female directors that I know and trust, and I think you would be a good one to do. And so I was like, oh, is this a conversation we're having right now? So he offered me an episode of Arrow, and that was how I kind of made the jump from editing to directing.
So then you think, editing is a good place to train, you think, it's almost its own film school?
I think it's fantastic. It's helped me so many times when I'm on the set because I know exactly the shots I need. The scene is already cut in my head before I show up on the stage. From the script, I've already pictured all of the shots I'm getting and how they're cut together and everything. So once I get there, again, you may not be able to get that shot of them coming out of the explosion or whatever because you've run out of time, but you know what you need to get all those pieces in to make the story.
So then, Canary. Got to talk a little Canary. One of the favorite episodes.
Yes, thank you.
What was the process? What did you love most about it when you first read the script?
I loved all the women. It was so fun. All of those ladies were just so game to play and just like show up every day and just like keep pushing it and keep doing it. Katie Lutz had just like fantastic idea. In the script, she was kind of taken down a couple times, and she came to me and she said, "Can I just kick some ass here? Like, can I just go for it?" And I was like, "Well, why not? Yes, of course." So we like re-choreographed a whole thing, kind of on the spot, and to make it, more oomph. But the producers were always willing to be like, "Oh yeah, let's do that." It was kind of a yes and situation, and those ladies were so fun to play with.
Alliance Women Directors.
Yes.
So one of the things, I have a lot of women actually students, and one of the things I'm always concerned about is when they don't see their faces represented in their stories or even in the professions,
Yes.
they just don't go into it.
Yeah.
It's almost like a subconscious thing, like, well, I won't do it. What is the organization, what is the biggest thing to try to encourage women students like to pursue the careers that have been really denied?
Yeah, I mean, what we work on a lot is also mentorship, but we're working with people that are in the industry already and still trying to work on their own careers. And within the industry, we're facing constant barriers already. And so trying to get to a place where people can, and students and people coming up and people that don't even know yet what they want to do can see that inspiration and can see that people are doing what they may one day want to do. We want to see more representation, more inspiration, more things like that. So we're trying to get people working, get more representation, get more of that going on. So we want to get people hired. We want to do all of the things that can inspire the next generation. And then on top of that, we do things like mentorship and workshops and learning and things like that. So yeah, we have all kinds of ways in and all kinds of things that we work together as a community. So we're focused on all kinds of different pods of how to move forward with the barriers that we face.
And for directing is the field that's, if I'm not mistaken, the worst gender balance of
Absolutely, yes, absolutely.
What can we do more for the directing stand, specifically directing?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying a lot of things, and what we need to do is support women directors, is to support their projects, to watch projects that they make, to tell the industry that this is what we want to see. These are the stories that we want told. This is the view that we believe in, the lens that we want to see things through, and make sure that that they know that this is a demand that they must supply. And
the thing is, Hollywood, we realize there's a lot of money to be made telling women's stories too.
That's exactly it. That's the supply and demand right there. Like, there is money there. And so as much as it can look like, oh, we're just trying to do good, it's not just that. It's people want these things. Like, you can make a lot of money off of it,
And now with all the streaming, do you think there's more of a chance now for any underrepresented artists with streaming? There's more ways to tell stories.
I absolutely do believe that, but it's an argument that's constantly happening, in the higher ups out there, and we need to show them that it's true. And many people don't believe it, and the decision makers, and that is also part of what we need to do. Is we need to prove it, and. Unfortunately for women and marginalized genders, this is how it always goes. You have to prove it before you get it. And we're in that space right now, and the more that we do to prove it, the closer we're going to get. It's unfortunate that we have to, but we're going to do it.